What is going on, golf fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Press Podcast as a part of the Fairways and Dreams podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Hartman, and this is where we take a look at the upcoming tournament and we give our picks. We talk about what we got right last week, a recap of that tournament, and then we take a look at, and it's a great preview for the upcoming tournament. In this case, we're going to be talking about the Cognizant Classic down at PGA National as the PGA Tour goes to Florida and their Florida swing. But let's go back. Let's take a look at the Genesis Invitational. It was at Riviera Country Club. It was back-to-back signature events, which was really weird because you had a lot of players, even someone like Scottie Scheffler, who had played in 3 straight events. And that might not seem like it's anything, but for these players in today's day and age, they typically don't play in consecutive weeks this often. And so when you're talking about, he played in Scottie Scheffler in the Phoenix Open, then he played at Pebble Beach as a signature event, then in the Genesis, that's a lot. Nonetheless, Riviera Country Club, let's go over the odds again in case those that forget. Scottie Scheffler was the odds-on favorite to win at plus 320. Rory McIlroy came in at plus 1,300. Xander Schauffele plus 2,150. Tommy Fleetwood at plus 2,200. And Hideki Matsuyama at plus 2,250. Those were the top 5. So let's take a look at our plays. And we were on the cusp of having a huge week. I mean, a huge week. And yet things kind of fell apart at the end. Let's talk about it. First, our favorite pick was Scottie at plus 320. Anytime I can get him over plus 300 odds, I'm going to take him. Hell, I might take him at plus 280. It doesn't matter. Starts off slow, which has been the name of the game for him this season. And yet, what do we have? He finishes, he comes back, barely makes the cut, tied for 12th. He ties for 12th. So it's a situation where Scottie turns it around again. It's just too little too late. Now, our long shot play, I took Jake Knapp at plus 3,600, and I've said this every week, and I'm going to continue to say it. I have never had a long shot play hit. A long shot play for me is typically someone that's plus 2,500 or greater odds. Jake Knapp at plus 3,600 fit the bill. He finishes tied for 6th, so a great outing for the Napster. He is playing some very great golf, some fantastic golf this year, and just doesn't come up with the big win when we need it. Now let's go to top 5, top 10, and top 20 plays from last week. Top 5, I had Scottie at minus 144. He doesn't hit at tied for 12th. I had Colin Morikawa at plus 450. He wins the Pebble Beach. You're thinking, okay, maybe this guy can keep it going. And he was just outside, tied for 7th. If he just made one more putt down the stretch, he probably would have found himself in the top 5. Instead, he's in the tied for 7th. So that doesn't hit, but we were oh so close. Oh, so close. Top 10, one of them, boy, did it get away. Chris Goddard played horribly, misses the cut, plus 235. He's a 2-time winner already this season, but did not play well at Riviera. The course didn't suit him well. I should have known better. Nonetheless, that doesn't hit. But Xander Schauffele, I had him as a top 10 at plus 170. I felt like his game was starting to turn around. He played well at Pebble Beach, played well at Riviera, tied for 7th. So that hits only a plus 170 odds, but still we're going to take the plus odds. We're going to take the money and we're going to run. Then we go to the top 20. I thought Sepp Straka would have a chance here, but he barely makes the cut and finishes dead last for those that do make the cut, tied for 50th, so that clearly does not hit. But Ludwig Oberg, plus 118, he plays well enough to finish tied for 20th. Remember, ties count. And so plus 118 odds, we have that hit. So for our top 8 picks, that's our favorite long shot, 2 top 5, 2 top 10, and 2 top 20. We finished 2 for 8 this week or last week. Now for the bonus plays. This is where we really, really kind of got screwed. I had Scottie, Rory, or Xander to win at plus 194. That was a triple play. Rory finishes tied for 2nd. He could not make a putt on Sunday. He couldn't put the pressure needed on Jacob Bridgman, and so therefore that doesn't hit. But he had, I mean, think about it. Scottie was tied for 12th. Rory tied for 2nd. Xander ties for 7th. Those are 3 good plays. Just no one wins that tournament. Then I had Scottie and Rory as a top 10 finish, plus 210 odds. And I'm watching the final round, and Scottie finishes up, and he was tied for 10th for a very long time. And then some players started to come up from behind him. Tommy Fleetwood cans one from the fairway for an eagle. And then all of a sudden, Scottie slips to tied for 12th. So what would have been a hit parlay of Scottie and Rory both top 10 doesn't play out, even though Rory does his part. Then you get a parlay that actually does hit. I had Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Tommy Fleetwood, all top 20 plays, plus 270. Xander tied for 7th. Tommy Fleetwood, I believe, was in the top 10, and Scotty was tied for 12th. They all are in the top 20 plus 270 odds. Believe it or not, this parlay was the best return for us out of all of our picks, but it's a hit. The winning margin of 2 shots doesn't count. Jacob Bridgman played it extremely safe down the stretch, and he wins by 1. And so what's crazy is that our streak continues for the second week in a row. Actually, yeah, for the third week in a row, we have at least 2 wins in our top 8. But bonuses, we're starting to kind of figure that out. Last week at the Pebble Beach, we went 2 for 4 with the bonus. This week, we went 1 for 4 with the bonus. So our streak continues. Can we keep it going into this Cognizant Classic at Palm Beach Gardens in Florida? That is PGA National. It's the Bear Trap. I did see a really cool video that I wanted to talk about. It was, I don't know the year, but Arnold Palmer was still on tour. He was a part of the Champions Tour. They called it the Senior Tour at the time. But he played in this tournament, and he shot his age. At 71, he shot 71. It was really cool to see. And Arnie still could get it done. He's playing the back tips, all that stuff. But before we get into the past winners and stuff, let's take a look at what's coming up on the PGA Tour. This week, the Cognizant Classic. Tough. It's a tough tournament to predict because a lot of players are taking this tournament off. Scotty's not playing. Rory's not playing. They just played again 2 to 3 weeks in a row. They typically like a week off. And they're also getting ready for what's after the Cognizant. After the Cognizant, you have the Arnold Palmer Invitational down in Florida, and that's a signature event. Then they're going to take another week off, the Puerto Rico Open. Then you come back for the Players. So they're going to have a 1 week on, 1 week off type event. And then after the Players, you have the Valspar, the Texas Children's Open, the Valero, all leading up to the Masters. So we're really trying to dig in. These tournaments are tough. This Cognizant Classic, no golfers in the top 25 on the official world golf rankings are playing. So that can make it difficult. But let's take a look at the course. PGA National, like I mentioned, par 71, 7,223 yards in length. Let's look at the past winners. In 2025, it was Joe Highsmith. 2024, Austin Eckroad. 2023, Chris Kirk. And 2022, Sepp Straka. So again, back in 2022, no one knew who Sepp Straka was. And this is typically won by a player who's not really known amongst the majority of golf fans that don't pay attention week in and week out. So let's look at the top odds. Believe it or not, there's 2 players, Shane Lowry and Ryan Garrard, who are both plus 1,950 odds. This is courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. Then we go to Nikolai Højgaard at plus 2,150 and his brother Rasmus at plus 2,200. Finishing up, Michael Thorne Bjornsson at plus 2,450. So those are your top 5 odds. It's crazy that only 2 players are below plus 2,000 odds. Let's go to our picks, though. We start off with our favorite play, and then we go to our long shot. Favorite, I'm going to go with Nikolai Højgaard at plus 2,150. He's played good golf. He's proven that he can compete with a little bit of a watered down field, meaning there's not the big names out there. I can see Nikolai Højgaard finding a way to win this golf tournament. He's our favorite play at plus 2,150. As for a long shot, I'm going to go with a guy that we typically stand behind. I've had his caddy, Don Donatello, on the podcast before. I'm talking about Alex Smalley. Alex Smalley at plus 3,800. He has played, you go back to 2025, played some really good golf. He hasn't played well in the big events down the stretch, but he's been really turning his game around. I like the way he's trending. Alex Smalley plus 3,800. He's our long shot pick. Let's hope it plays out. Now let's go to top 5, top 10, and top 20. Top 5, I'm going to go Shane Lowry, although I don't have him winning the tournament. I do have him competing well. A top 5 finish is plus 380 odds. I also like Nikolai Højgaard, going to hedge our bet as our favorite pick at plus 425 to finish in the top 5. So Shane Lowry at plus 380, Nikolai Højgaard at plus 425. Those are our top 5 plays of the week. Then we go to top 10. Rasmus Højgaard, yes, his brother. I've got him in the top 10 at plus 220. And I like Daniel Berger, who actually played well at this tournament last year, as my top 10 plays. Daniel Berger getting plus 295. So Rasmus Højgaard at plus 220, Daniel Berger at plus 295. Now we go to top 20 plays. Man, I tell you what, you take a look at some of these odds based on the previous year. You go back to 2025 compared to 2026, you have to dig really deep to find someone that's even plus 200 or more to finish in the top 20. But I think we've had some value plays here. I'm not giving up on Brooks Koepka. The last time we saw Brooks Koepka, he missed the cut. This was coming off of his debut, and he made the cut barely. I think that Brooks Koepka is someone that he can still golf the golf ball. He can still move the ball around the course. Brooks Koepka plus 162. That's a top 20 play. Max Homa at plus 194 is another top 20 play. I like Koepka plus 162, Homa plus 194. Sometimes you get those guys that just, there's just something about them. They're just too good to be this bad, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go with those as my top 20 plays. Now, only 3 bonus plays this week. I've got a double play of Shane Lowry or Nikolai Højgaard to win. Either one of those guys wins, it's plus 1,000 odds. Next, I don't typically like the top 30 or top 40 plays, but I'm going to go with a top 40 play here. If Billy Horschel finishes in the top 40, that's plus 116 odds. I like Billy Horschel. He was injured last year. I think he's healthy now. He's going to start getting his game right. He's someone that typically plays better on the East Coast, down in Florida. Obviously, he's kind of from that area. Billy Horschel, top 40 at plus 116. And then for margin of victory, I'm going back to the well. 2 shots, plus 345 odds. So our bonus plays, we have a double of if Shane Lowry or Nikolai Højgaard wins, it's plus 1,000. Billy Horschel, top 40, plus 116. And a margin of victory of 2 shots at plus 345. There you have it. My picks for the Cognizant. Again, next week is another signature event with the Arnold Palmer Invitational. We'll be having you covered every which way and sideways. And I'll be back tomorrow for another golf mixtape podcast with my buddy Dan from Leave the Pin. And if you missed yesterday's podcast, all about how to get ready for the upcoming golf season, there's some value there. Go check that out. It is not time sensitive, as well as don't forget the latest news in the game of golf. But that does it for this episode of the Press Podcast. I'll be back tomorrow. You know, he finishes up. Be safe, be kind, and God bless. The next time you're out there, hit him straight. We'll see you tomorrow.